Good morning. On behalf of the City of Ames, I'd like to welcome everybody who has come today. I see that we do have a number of elected officials, both from the city and the county, in the audience. I won't find them all, but raise your hands, and then when you're next to them, please say thank you to the elected officials who are here. We also have here a number of donors who have, either through their businesses or individually, contributed to make this day happen. Newly established back there is a plaque listing everybody, so I invite you, after we are done with this ceremony, to please look at that and to thank the people whose names you see on it. We today are welcoming both the public and the private businesses, as well as people who are aviation buffs, to come to this day that we have been anticipating for a long time. This is essentially our second terminal in the history of the Ames Airport, and I'd like to just personally take a point of personal privilege in saying a little bit about that first terminal. Damien tells me we are on the grave now of the first terminal. However, there was a short time, when there was a commuter airline that came from Chicago to Ames. I happened to be living on the East Coast at the time and thus took it into Ames. My family lived right down the road here. The technology at that time was, if a plane was late, the dispatcher here would call my parents and say, "We see the plane coming in. It's about time for you to come and pick up your daughter." Well, that was 50 years ago, so today I'm pleased to say that both the terminal and the technology have advanced to take us into the next half century as we see the progress and the need for air transport in Ames. So we have a variety of people here who are going to tell us how we've gotten to the point where we are today and what they anticipate for the next half century. And I'd like to start with Damien Pretziger, who is with the City Public Works Department, our traffic engineer, who does everything from determining where bike paths are going to be, where stop signs are going to be, to where runways are going to be. So Damien, will you tell us how we got to where we are now?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to give a quick overview of the project, obviously how we got to this point. Before I do that, I want to talk a little bit and thank some of the major partners that made this happen. Obviously, the Mayor and Council supported the funding of this project. We had two major partners, Iowa State University and really the Ames Chamber, who kind of got us over the finish line on the funding. And then last but not least, I wanted to thank our FBO, Central Iowa Air Service. If you're part of the Central Iowa Air Service, can you raise your hand real quick? Yeah, give them a round of applause. I think it's super critical. Not only the design of the building, the funding of it is a very important step, but the ongoing operation and customer service, and our Central Iowa Air Service is doing a fantastic job, and we're very happy that they're here with us. One of the things that this project, you may think that we funded it back here in February 2015 is really when we started the design. But this project goes way back to the end of our master plan, back in really 2006, when we thought we would just replace the building that's over here to the north of us, just replace it in place because the building was too old. And at that time, they were talking about gateways to the community and that we really needed to keep up with the growth of Ames. And that's where the idea and the concept for this building came from. So 2 years, almost getting 3 years now for us to design and build this structure. Couple people I'd like to recognize, Bolton and Mink. Is anybody from Bolton and Mink out here that raise your hand? They're our civil engineers. Them and Absolute Concrete was the first step of this, and we use our federal grant and state grants to build this site. So we got the site prepared, the parking lot prepared. They also designed and prepared the site for the hangar that's to the west here. So without them, they really, literally set the foundation for what we're standing on. Another group I wanted to, and that was a $750,000 effort. The second group I want to thank is Alliance Architects. Anybody from Alliance that would like? They're the ones who designed this great building. They have their interior designers, the layout, the flow of this building is really thanks to them. Jensen Builders was the one who actually built the building. They did a great job, as you can tell. Meticulous work. We're very happy with it. This is a $2.3 million building. So all in all, we're standing in about a $3.5 million investment. And if you add the hangar for $1 million on top, I think that's a great kick in the arm, great shot in the arm for the Ames Airport, for the growth of Ames in general. Like we talked about, and I think the thing that I hear a lot since we've opened the building and now the ribbon cutting is how proud people are of this building, what it means for Ames when customers come through here. I've heard nothing but positive things. So it's exciting to have this building as a gateway for Ames. And really that we expect great things to come for the airport. We know that Ames is growing. We want the airport to grow with it. So with that, there's some people who are going to talk about those growths and the opportunities that are to come.
Thank you, Damien. Obviously, we would not have this building just for Ames, Iowa, if it were not for our partnership with Iowa State University, and particularly the proximity to the Iowa State University Research Park. So I would like next to introduce our interim Iowa State University president, Ben Allen. Ben and I are both short-timers, but I think obviously have our heart in what the next half century for Ames and Iowa State University services are going to be. So Ben, will you please share your vision with us?
Thank you, Mayor Campbell. It's great to be here to represent the university. In terms of that few days left here, we had a Board of Regents meeting this week, and Regent Sahai, who is a medical doctor, came up to me and he said, "Your days are numbered." and I'm not sure he was speaking as a regent or as a medical doctor. So, but I'm delighted to be here. This new facility, along with the hangar, really represents this next level of partnership that we have with the city of Ames. It's been a long-standing, dynamic partnership, and it's going to just build upon that history. But Iowa State has a vested interest in the growth and success of the municipal airport, dating back about 70 years. I'm not going to go way back, but Charles Friley, president of Iowa State, is the one who decided to invest $35,000 in this project in 1947. And so that's how far we go back. But since that time, the airport has transformed from its original 2 turf runways to a robust, heavily utilized asset for the community. There's no doubt that a modern airport terminal hangar facilitates access to the city. But also a first impression. In 20 years since the terminal was last renovated, both Ames and Iowa State, excuse the pun, have taken off. Ames is always ranked as one of the most livable, high-quality places to live. Job creation is great, robust economy. It's just a high-quality place to live. Iowa State continues to earn high rankings in its academic programs. The ABE is ranked #1 in the country, but that's just one example. But we also consider to be one of the best values for higher education. And because of that high rankings and the best values, we're attracting a large number of students. 36,321 this year, but who's counting? And we also have a lot of innovation going on here. That draws people to Iowa State in large numbers. But as Mayor Campbell mentioned, next door is our research park. And this is the crown jewel of our economic development efforts at Iowa State. It's one of the few research parks that actually has an airport right next to it, which certainly has contributed to its success. But over the past 20 years, the park has flourished from 60 acres to 220 acres. The number of companies and employees at the park have more than doubled to 80 companies and more than 1,700 employees. Boehringer Ingelheim, John Deere, Merck, which acquired Harris Vaccines, Sukup Manufacturing, TMC Transportation, Vermeer, Workiva, are just a few of the companies that have established significant, expanded their presence here in the park. creating opportunities for collaboration with our outstanding faculty and staff, and providing jobs for our graduates. And the new lifestyle amenities, Provisions Restaurant, Ames Racket and Fitness, McFarland Clinic, Lily Pad Learning Center, as well as the outdoor space, including the Tedesco Environmental Learning Corridor, are helping to attract, retain the modern workforce. So this research park is no longer a standard business park, it's an innovative, collaborative, work-live community. And the airport plays a key part in it. The Ames Municipal Airport gives us a competitive advantage as another appealing reason for startups to nurture their business here and for established companies to expand here. The airport also provides a first-rate impression for visitors, and I understand the Texas people came here in large numbers. And I'm glad they all left. But again, no, that's a great impression for people coming in for football games and other activities. But we see tremendous potential for the revitalized airport to help enhance the overall health and vitality of the Iowa State and Ames community. This is the first time I've been in this building, the modern features, the training room, but I know, someone told me there are a number of conference rooms that one might have actually cyclone colors put into it, so I have not seen that yet. Over here? So, okay, so it's like the British, they just put a flag in there, and it's ours. Okay, so that's how we operate, so thank you. I want to thank our partners, Mayor Campbell and the City of Ames, the Ames Chamber of Commerce, the Ames Economic Development Commission, represented by Daniel O, the Iowa Department of Transportation, Office of Aviation, represented by Tim McClung, and many members of the Iowa State team. And I saw Mike Crum earlier. Mike, where are you? Mike, of course, as you know, is a VP for Economic Development and Industry Relations for the university. I'm not sure, is Steve Carter here? But Steve is head of the research park. He'll get a memo on Monday. But I also want to thank Damien for his good work here. First time I met him, but I've heard a lot about you from a number of people on campus. Appreciate your work. And the new fixed-based operator, Central Iowa Air Service, I met them. So thank you for your outstanding work. And they have a strong reputation for providing excellent service. We're excited to see the airport project reach completion to make the university and the community not only more accessible, but really a very attractive place for the future. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Ben. As Ben noted, President Friley in the late 40s was a part of making this airport get underway. But at that time, we didn't have the many businesses and industries that have sprung up since then that have also become vital players and interest in the airport. One of them has been in the area of renewable resources, helping businesses make not only Ames, but the whole country and the whole world a greener place to live. So as we see a number of these businesses kind of quietly come to town but grow, their interest in having accessible airport is extremely important. And here to speak today on behalf of those contributors is Dan O. So Dan, will you please tell us about the private sector?
Thank you, Mayor. And I'll try to carry on with a few thoughts and not be too redundant. I'm just a youngster in town. I've only lived here 11 years, so I do bring some other perspective and some other viewpoint. And I get to be here today representing the private business sector that through the Ames Economic Development Corporation and the Ames Chamber of Commerce and many others, and please understand that many people who helped get this done are not aviators. They're just visionaries that think about what it takes to have a thriving, healthy, growing community that cares about everyone and is inclusive and makes sure that we've got great and growing opportunity no matter who you are, so that you can come here and expect to raise your family or participate in the community or get things done. And part of that is transportation. Part of that is a thriving infrastructure. So, as a person who's been quite a few places, this is a special asset. Now, I meant Ames, but also the airport. So we're right here by the research park. We talked about that. We also have Interstate 35. We also have State Highway 30. We've got one of the best education systems in the country. We've got a wonderful population here, and we're part of the Des Moines metro area. So this facility here actually is part of that aviation complex, and now with these capabilities is able to be a place where anyone who wants to come in the greater Des Moines metro area can come right here and get it done. And this asset was invested in by many, and I in particular, I want to call out Dean Hunziker and Dan Culhane. Where are you guys at? Are you here? They were tireless in going out and soliciting donations to strengthen the city and the county. And this is a county, city, state, federal, local, private citizen initiative that brought this here. And it's a great example of collaboration and planning and partnership and people who just want the place to be better, getting the stuff done. So it took years. We heard that described. University leadership was integral. Saw many meetings work on this, and makes me proud as a citizen of the state and Ames in particular. And it's an example of the kind of forward-thinking, long-term planning. So no matter who you are here, you see that occur. You know, you can look at education, health care, streets. You know, guaranteed every year, Steve Schenker somehow has figured out how to renew and improve our infrastructure so that every once in a while, we're going to find that everything's been done right, and we don't have a lot of debt. We just saw one of the best things happen. We raised money at a super low cost as a city because of stewardship and the ability to make things work right. And even this building, as great as it looks, is a perfect example of design that looks really good but is very efficient and cost effective. And that's a wonderful thing to do. So why does it all matter? It all matters because Ames in the next 10 years and this year and the next 50 years is really gonna blossom. And it's because of this holistic view of all the things that have to be done so that as a group and as a community, we're building the infrastructure so that we can handle the growth and have the kind of opportunities for children and grandchildren and students who come here and want to stay, and people who come here and just decide they want to be here, whether they graduate or not, pick Ames. And as we compete for resources, the most important resources out there, which are people, we've got to have a great place to be, and that's happening, and it's a great thing to see here. And it doesn't matter who you are in this room, you're here representing some aspect that makes Ames a special place. So thank you for that. That's why the business community and others put money in, and we love this town.
Thank you, Dan. So far, we have concentrated on the local aspect, Iowa State University, the business community, and the city of Ames in terms of making this happen. But as we all know, particularly in the area of air, we are not here in a vacuum, but it is the state through the Iowa Department of Transportation and the federal government through the FAA that is also very integral in bringing us to where we are today. So with that in mind, I'd like to introduce Tim McClung, who is from the Iowa DOT.
Thank you, Mayor Campbell, and thank you for the invitation here today. Aviation is an important part of Iowa's air transportation system, and it supports businesses and the citizens of Iowa. Whether supporting corporate business activity, ISU athletics, flight training, or on-demand charter, or even on-demand jet charter, airports are the front door for air travelers coming to communities in Iowa. The addition of this beautiful new airport terminal and the hangar next door will modernize the air travel experience into and out of Ames for general aviation travelers. General aviation is important to the economic vitality of a community. The support of personal travel, local business activity, educational institutions like Iowa State, and economic development opportunities is a basic role of any airport. In fact, Iowa's largest employers rank proximity to a general aviation airport in the top 6 factors they consider when selecting new or expanded business facilities. The Iowa DOT has been a proud partner with the City of Ames to provide grants supporting terminal building and taxiway construction, all necessary elements of an airport that's going to effectively serve its community. It would be remiss not to credit the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, and the role it's played in funding work that has supported this project as well. FAA, through its user fee-based Airports and Airway Trust Fund, is the largest investor in Iowa's air transportation system. We're thankful to see those dollars come to Iowa and to help keep Iowa competitive. The Iowa DOT looks forward to a bright future for the Ames community and its utilization of the Ames Municipal Airport. Congratulations on these enhancements that will serve the community for decades to come. And thank you again for allowing us to participate today.
Thank you. That concludes our program today. However, ribbon cutting is next, and let me show you the ribbon. Let Damien show you the ribbon. You will note it is not an ordinary ribbon, but it is one that takes the Ames logo and blends the colors of the city, the university, and the Chamber and Economic Development Commission. So, Susan, you have people lined up who are supposed to be here for this. Can you all come over?
Let's have everybody line up right here. Yeah, it is. We got fractions right here. Come in.